Take one.
Edited.
Good luck, everyone. It's a good contest. Enjoy yourselves. Good evening and welcome to the first semi-final of the Krypton Factor for 1978. The contestants who won the first 4 heats are all here to do battle for places in the final, and 2 of them will go through to that final in a fortnight's time. So it promises to be an exciting and tense struggle, and if it's even half as gripping as last week's heat in which 3 contestants were involved in that sudden death playoff, you remember, well then we'll all be on the edge of our seats by the end of tonight's contest. So let's get underway with round 1, mental agility. All the tests tonight, being a semi-final, are going to be much harder, as you'll see with this one. The test tonight is coded numbers and letters, and let me now explain that to our contestants. In a few moments, through the headphones you'll be wearing, you will each hear a series of numbers. Using the code A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3, we want you to translate those numbers into letters and give me back the letters in the right sequence. Now let me give you a quick example. If you heard the numbers 1, 5, 2, your reply would be A, E, B. So would you now, if you've got that, put your headphones on, and don't forget the numbers will only be in the range 1 to 5. The letters, therefore, you give me back will be from A to E. A knockout round, it stops when there's just 1 remaining in the contest. We start with your series of numbers. Pat Kidd.
1, 4, 5.
EDA. Oh, I've gone
No,
backwards.
you've got that wrong, I'm
Yeah.
afraid.
I did it backwards. I've reversed
You
it as
did.
last
It
time.
should have been ADE,
ADE,
and
yeah.
I'm sorry you are out in the first round. But we move on to Elaine Mallory.
1, 3, 5.
ACE.
That's correct. Now to Ken Wilmshurst.
2, 1, 3.
BAC.
Also correct. Now Terry Carroll.
2, 5, 3.
BEC.
That is correct. So 3 of you still in it. Let's make it even more difficult by jumping now to 6 numbers, starting with you, Elaine Mallory.
3, 2, 5, 4, 1, 3.
CBEDAC.
That's correct. Ken Wilmshurst.
2, 1, 4, 5, 3, 1.
BADECA.
Yes, correct. Terry Carroll.
4, 2, 5, 1, 4, 3.
DBEADC.
Correct. A contest really fit for a semi-final. We move on to 7 numbers, and we start again with Elaine Mallory.
4, 5, 2, 2, 1, 5, 4.
DEBBAED.
Yes, that's correct. Ken Wilmshurst.
324554.
C, B, D, E, D, A, D.
No, you went wrong on the fifth one, I'm afraid. It should have been C, B, D, E, then A, E, D. So you're eliminated, Ken Wilmshurst. We move on to Terry Carroll.
43135112.
D, C, A, C, E, A, B.
Absolutely right. So two of you, Elaine Mallory and Terry Carroll, survive as we go on to 8 numbers. And we start with Elaine Mallory.
15241415.
A, E, B, D, A, D, B, E.
Wrong with just one, the penultimate one, A, E, B, D, A, D. You're right, it should have ended A, E, not B, E, as you said. So you're out. So on now to Terry Carroll. Here are yours.
15235414.
A, E, B, C, E, D, A, D.
That is absolutely right. And that means that the outright winner of that round is Terry Carroll, so he starts in the best possible way in the semi-final with 10 points. In second place, Elaine Mallory, who gets 6 points. Ken Wilmshurst finished third and gets 4 points. And Pat Kidd in fourth place gets 2 points. But there, after just one of our 5 rounds, the early leader from Bradford with a Krypton factor of 10 points is Terry Carroll. Right, well, I know that all our contestants were delighted to have won their heats and got to this stage, the semi-final, but 1 or 2 of them I know were unhappy about the prospect of having to run the assault course again, particularly as they knew it would be made more difficult with the addition of 2 more obstacles. But having said that, they did have 4 weeks to prepare themselves for it, so let's see now how thoroughly they did that as we go to the start to join them there, along with the Army's Captain Don Glynn.
Competitors, take your marks.
And it's 34-year-old Pat Kidd from Coventry away first and into one of the new obstacles, the double ramp. Very difficult to do, hard to get a grip with your feet, hard to get across. And now there goes Elaine Mallory, 8 seconds behind Pat Kidd. She's aged 29. But Pat Kidd in the lead as she goes the log balance. Elaine Mallory trying hard to catch up, but Pat Kidd will be wanting to make up as much lead as she can before the men start as she goes on towards the tunnel. There's Elaine Mallory from Southport. She's going well as she goes on to the rope swing. And away goes Ken Wilmshurst, the ex-Olympic athlete. He's age 47, started 31 seconds behind Pat Kidd, so he's got to go some to catch up. Was in Melbourne for the long and triple jump, so he knows how to pace a race, and going very fast at the beginning of this moment. Pat Kidd, though, out in front, trying to build up that lead as she comes down from the high balance down that rope. And there goes Terry Carroll, age 29, 48 seconds behind Pat Kidd, so he's got a lot of running to do. He's got to pace it well, but he's still got to go fast throughout as he goes up the steps there. A lot of work for him to do. In the lead, though, is Pat Kidd as she goes across that monkey swing. This is a real hard one. There's a lot of water under that as she falls, but she's over it nicely. She did well to get through that and goes into the crawl section. And now Terry Carroll has passed Elaine Mallory. So Elaine Mallory in trouble. Terry Carroll going quite nicely there. She goes across the high balance to come down those ropes. Fatal not to slide down that, it burns your hands. But Pat Kidd still in the lead, and there's Ken Wilmshurst in second place. He's catching all the time. Has Pat Kidd got enough energy to keep going as she goes over that gate vault? Only one obstacle behind is Ken Wilmshurst.
Lift your legs.
Across the water jump there. There's Ken Wilmshurst making ground all the time. Over nicely that water jump and onto the seesaws. They come up into the last obstacle now. This is very close with Pat Kidd on the left-hand side, Ken Wilmshurst on the far side. I think probably fractionally in the lead now as they go onto the rope bridge. Neck and neck as they go up to 18 feet. That's the climb on that swaying rope bridge with a safety net under them. 18-foot drop, whoever goes first. It's going to be Ken Wilmshurst, the ex-Olympic athlete. Down he goes, he wins it. Pat Kidd, though, is going to be fairly comfortably home in second place. She's just got that 18-foot drop, takes a bit of courage. There she goes and lands fairly nicely. Elaine Mallory in some trouble. She obviously came off the monkey swing and into the water there and is now soaking wet as she goes into the crawl. Terry Carroll drops down there in third place, and Elaine Mallory a long way behind there, and clearly all that's left for her is fourth place.
Well, a very wet and tired Elaine Mallory, in fact, failed to finish the course, but no doubt about the winner, the sort of performance you might expect from an ex-Olympic athlete. Ken Wilmshurst gets 10 points. In second place, just failing to win it, in fact, Pat Kidd, 6 points. Then in third place, Terry Carroll with 4 points, and although Elaine Mallory failed to finish, she gets 2 points. So there, at the end of 2 rounds, we've now got joint leadership, both on 14 points. We've got from Oxshott, Surrey, Ken Wilmshurst. And also on 14 points from Bradford, Terry Carroll. So a real battle developing now. Don't forget, 2 contestants go through to the final. Getting very exciting indeed as we move on now to the intelligence section, and this time we've tried to include mathematical and practical skills in the test. So contestants, can I now ask you to step down behind your benches, and there you can see you've each got a grid on your benches, 4 by 4, and on the lower levels you've got 16 blocks with numbers on them. What you have to do is to place those blocks in the squares in such a way that no 2 numbers appear in the same rows, vertically, horizontally, or diagonally. That's what you've got to do. Your target time is 2 minutes. There's only one way to do it. Will you start now?
So remember, there must not be 2 numbers the same in any column, up and down, sideways, or any diagonals. And by that we mean not just the 2 diagonals to opposite corner, but any diagonals. Terry Carroll here, he's a management accountant, so he ought to be good at juggling figures. Interesting to see how he makes out in this test. He seems to have started confidently. Not the same for Ken Wilmshurst, though, the company director, but a fairly thoughtful start. But Pat Kidd starting quite quickly, but a few mistakes. You can see there's 2 4s. She's taken that one out in that diagonal, and now she's got a 3 in the top left and the bottom right, so she's got to remove one of those. And still not much progress there from Ken Wilmshurst. But that looks correct to me at this stage. The management accountant, yes, it is absolutely right. Some mathematics going on in the audience, but he's checking it through, all the diagonals. You can see he's still checking, and he's satisfied too. So he wins the round. And that looks very much as though Pat Kidd has finished as well. She's checking through, the audience are checking through, and yes, she has finished correctly, so she is second. Now you can see immediately Elaine Mallory has a 4 in the top left and in the bottom right, so that's wrong for a start. Ken Wilmshurst, I think if he swaps those 2 blocks around, then he may well finish, though the buzzer's coming up.
And Ken Wilmshurst finishes just a fraction ahead of the buzzer there, but with the 2 minutes up, let's sort out the points now. Terry Carroll finished first, so it's 10 points for Terry. Then came Pat Kidd, who gets 6 points for second place. Ken Wilmshurst, as I said, just ahead of the buzzer, finishes third and gets 4 points. Elaine Mallory failed to finish, but gets 2 points. We now feed those points into our master scoreboard, so at the end of the intelligence round, we now have a clear leader, the management accountant from Bradford with a Krypton factor of 24 points, Terry Carroll. Well, the contestants know exactly what to expect when we move into the next round, which is the observation test, which includes that identity parade. So I'll ask them now to swing straight round and face the screens. Everything's getting tougher in the semi-final. All your attention here.
In America, torrential rains buffeted the Midwest and East. Floods continued to swamp farmlands all along the Mississippi. The National Guard has been called out in 6 states to bolster crumbling levees. And finally, at the OPEC meeting in Vienna this morning, the oil-producing countries agreed to freeze the price of oil for a further 6 months. That's the end of the 1 o'clock news.
The computer's come up with 6 physicists with the right profile, all rejected by me on the grounds of incipient paranoia.
Where are they now?
One committed suicide. 3 are working in small African countries. 1 we can't trace. And the 6th is teaching in a crammer at Chelsea.
Well, that's ridiculous. A man with top qualifications spending his time trying to squeeze dull pupils through their exams.
The kind of report I had to make about him, it's like an albatross around a man's neck. It's with him wherever he goes.
His name is Parkinson. Now, we've been to the school, but he's not there. He's off sick.
Where does he live?
He lives at 66 Leinster Square, London, W2.
That's all the news for now. So it's back to Spinner Disc.
There was nothing on the news. There was nothing on the news again. You're still not taking me seriously.
Look.
Now people are going to start getting hurt.
Now listen.
Any good?
Never be long enough to trace. You can't argue with a recording. It's part of the reason he does it that way.
A clip there from the new series, The Return of the Saint. You've now got 3 questions each. And we start with you, Pat Kidd, an either-or question. Was the Queen in residence at Windsor Castle, yes or no?
No.
Correct, she was not. The Royal Standard wasn't flying, so you get 2 points. Visual question. What was the number of the motorway junction?
A335. I couldn't see
No,
it
the
very
number
clearly.
of the junction was 6, so no points
the
there.
motorway junction, yeah. Fine.
Dialogue question. What country was mentioned in the first news item on the radio?
Oman?
No, it was America. So you stay on 2 points. We move on to Elaine Mallory. How many framed degrees were on the wall? 2 or 3?
2.
There were 3, so no points. What was the A road number to Slough Central?
A322.
No, it was the A355. Still no points. Where did the OPEC meeting mentioned in the news take place?
Vienna.
Correct, 2 points. Ken Wilmshurst. Was the man listening to the radio wearing a jumper or a cardigan?
Cardigan.
Correct, 2 points. What was the A road number to Windsor?
322.
Nearly, but not quite. 332. No points there. Where are the majority of the scientists the computer mentioned now working?
I don't know.
In small African countries, so you also stay on 2 points. Terry Carroll. How many times did Big Ben strike? 4 times or 5 times?
4.
It struck 5 times. No points there. Which university were the degrees on the wall from?
London.
Correct, 2 points. What programme was on after the news just before the bomber recorded the cassette?
Spinner disc.
Correct, that's 2 points, so you finish up with 4. And we move on now to the identity parade. You can see how much tougher the semi-final is. This is no different. You remember during that film near the end, they tried to trace the call the bomber made. A policeman on a white phone tried to trace it. It's not him we want identified, it's the policeman who sat beside him. He had a moustache, he sat beside him. We now have 9 men with moustaches, 9 policemen. Which one was the man in the film? Just to repeat it, near the end of the film, they tried to trace the phone call. There was a policeman with a white phone, and sitting beside him was another policeman. That policeman is among the 9 in our lineup. The question is, which one is it? In fact, he appeared in 3 different shots in the film. He was more conspicuous in the one where he was beside the man trying to trace the phone call. The moment's coming where you have to make up your minds. I'm going to ask you to press a number on the armrest of your chair, which corresponds with the number in the lineup, the policeman who was in that film, the man we want. So if you're all ready, will you make your decision now? Right, let's check on your selections, see if anyone's got it. Pat Kidd's chosen number 7. Would number 7 step forward, please? Elaine Mallory has gone for number 2. Would he step forward, please? Ken Wilmshurst has chosen number 6. Would he step forward, please? And Terry Carroll has also chosen number 6. So, has anyone got it right tonight? We're going to find out now. A tough one, I'm sure you'd agree, but we'll find out now as I ask the policeman who was in that film to identify himself now, please. There he is. It's number 6, actor Gordon Salkeld. Well, certainly the most difficult yet, but 2 of our contestants spotted the policeman, Ken Wilmshurst and Terry Carroll. They get the extra 4 points. Let's feed the totals for that round now into the scoreboard with very little time to go, just 1 round to go. And there we've got in second place Ken Wilmshurst, but increasing his lead with a Krypton factor of 32, Terry Carroll. Well, of course, it's 2 contestants, don't forget, who go through to the final. The last round is general knowledge. Lots of points available here. Be ready on the buzzers now, please, contestants, as we go straight in with 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Who was the man of La Mancha? Pat Kidd.
Don Quixote.
Correct, 2 points. The Windmills of Your Mind was the theme music from which film? The answer is The Thomas Crown Affair. What is an affaire d'honneur? Ken Wilmshurst.
A duel.
Correct, 2 points. Which French duellist was famous for the length of his... Interrupted by Ken Wilmshurst.
Cyrano de Bergerac.
Was famous for the length of his nose, 2 points. The Sirocco is what sort of natural... Interrupted by Pat Kidd.
It's a hot wind.
It is, 2 points. Who wrote The Wind in the Willows? Pat Kidd.
Kenneth Grahame.
Correct, 2 points. Where is Graham Land? The Antarctic is the answer. Who in 1953 composed the Sinfonia Antarctica? The answer is Vaughan Williams. What is Shirley Williams' government post? Pat Kidd.
Minister for Education.
Correct, 2 points. A little learning, wrote Alexander Pope, is what? Ken Wilmshurst.
A dangerous thing.
Correct, 2 points. The Althing is the parliament of which... Interrupted by Elaine Mallory.
Norway.
No, it's Iceland. You lose 2 points. An ice pick was used to assassinate... Interrupted by Terry Carroll. You must be right.
Leon Trotsky.
Correct, 2 points. Trotternish is a district of which large Hebridean island? The answer is Skye. What modern country was once known as the Celestial Empire? The answer is China. Just over a minute to go. Noel Coward wrote, "The Chinese wouldn't dare to..." what? Go out in the midday sun is the answer. Who played the male lead in the film High Noon? Ken Wilmshurst.
Gary Cooper.
Correct, 2 points. What does a Cooper make? Elaine Mallory.
Barrels.
Correct, 2 points. What have many done in barrels that Blondin accomplished twice? Interrupted by Pat Kidd.
He crossed Niagara Falls on tightrope.
They've gone over the Niagara Falls, 2 points. Water, water everywhere, nor any... Interrupted by Terry Carroll.
Samuel Coleridge from The Ancient Mariner.
You're correct, 2 points. The Old Man and the Sea is interrupted by Elaine Mallory. One answer only.
Ernest Hemingway.
Is correct. What does Ernie choose? Pat Kidd.
Premium bond winners.
Correct, 2 points. Who created James Bond? Elaine Mallory.
Ian Fleming.
Correct, 2 points. Flemish Bond and English Bond are terms used in which? Elaine Mallory.
Paper.
No, they're used in bricklaying. You lose 2 points. Stonewall Jackson was an American Civil War general on... No time to finish the question. It's the end of the round and the contest. 2, of course, to go through to the final. And there's the situation going through to the final. The man who finished runner-up tonight with 32 points, Ken Wilmshurst, and tonight's winner on 36 points, Terry Carroll. So our warmest congratulations to the 2 men tonight. I noticed some nerves, or was it caution there in that last general knowledge round, but they go through. Next week's second semi-final, the lineup is Andrew Gillum, an oceanographer from Liverpool, Father David Drake Brockman, a priest from Huddersfield, Mary Humphreys, student teacher from Rochester, Kent, Robert Taylor, a gardener from London. That then is the second semi-final next Friday, 7 o'clock. Till then, good night.